what you do if you end up in court and over traffic citations. Yeah, there's a number of ways you can handle it. First, let's just start with a basic traffic stop. They create about 25 felonies when they pull you over, under the presumption and assumption, making legal conclusions, practicing law without a license to do so, which is funny in and of itself. That statement is a conundrum, but I like to use it against them. And so when pulled over, I like to ask the questions. They like to act like they can lord over me, and they'll be the ones asking the questions, and you will respect my authority and do what I say. And I fucking laugh. I like to ask, who does number 2 work for? And they're like, number 2? Yeah, who does number 2 work for? They never know the answer to that. Number 2 works for number 1. All right? And so if we know that number 2 works for number 1, who's number 1 becomes the next question. That'd be this guy. All right? Same guy has 2 thumbs and loves unalienable rights and freedom. And they always get perplexed by that. And my next series of questions for a cop on the side of the road is, are you upon your oath of office today? Yes or no? Yes. Are you gainfully employed and currently on the clock? Yes or no? That answer is always yes. Do you have an oath or allegiance with any other organization that would be in conflict with your oath of office? Yes or no? Sometimes they say, well, no. Other times they say, well, I'm part of different organizations. Like, for example, most cops are associated with the Freemasons, and the Freemasons take care of their own, right? And they have an oath to protect each other. So that would be a conflict with their original oath, showing bias. And I like to ask if they're being paid for what they're doing. They will say yes. The next thing that I'll make a statement. So you admit you're being paid, and I am not currently gainfully employed for hire on the freeways, highways, byways, and passages for and on the official record. I'm holding court on the side of the road. Then I ask, so there is no need for you to act in a manner that would create insurrection. There's no reason for you to act hostile and induce insurrection or seditious behavior. Is that correct? You're being paid for what you're doing? Yes? And they'll be like, sometimes they're hesitant to ask that. Sometimes they admit it. Sometimes they're silent, and I let it be known for and on the official record, silence is acquiescence, that there is no need for this man to be hostile towards me and engage in activity or conduct that would otherwise be unbecoming of an agent and agency standing upon his oath of office. The reason I'm asking those questions is because the second he verifies or she verifies that they're being paid, this now becomes RICO, racketeering, organized crime. See, people on the freeways, highways, byways, and streets always say, you work for me. No, they really don't. They work for a private principal, and their job is to unjustly enrich their principal based upon statutes, codes, city ordinance, rules, and regulation violations that don't apply to you because that's all created by the legislative department. And the legislative department only creates rules, regulations, codes, and statutes for the agents and agencies that work for that organization, not for you and I. The reason I ask them about their oath of office is because I'm going to ask them another series of questions. I want to know how many amendments are in the United States Constitution. And if you took an oath to the United States Constitution, then you should rightfully know how many amendments there are. They never can answer that shit. And I'm sure they're changing their curriculum and training to teach them how to answer that simple question at this point, because I reach a lot of motherfucking people. and it disqualifies them. What it does when they can't answer that is it puts them in a position where they're taking